I'd like to welcome everyone to City Council meeting this evening. There's still some chairs. If you have a chair next to you that's vacant, if you could raise your hand so people that are standing can find a place to sit, please come on in. We'll note that all members of the City Council are present this evening. We've invited Ben Stanley to lead us in a Pledge of Allegiance, after which Lynn Walker will offer the opening remarks.
Invite the audience to please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks.
Our Father in heaven, we meet together tonight in this city council meeting to exchange ideas and listen to each other. We ask thee, Father, if thou will be with us, that we might be mindful of each other's feelings. We may be mindful of what is best for the city. We're grateful, Father, for the many blessings we enjoy, not the least of which is living here in this beautiful city. May we ever be wise in our decisions and bolster up our leadership, help them all that we can, and move forward.
Amen. Are there any changes to tonight's agenda? None?
No.
Okay, I'll call for a motion on the agenda.
Mayor, Council, I'll make the motion that we adopt the agenda as written, noting that several of the items are continued to a future date.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Ben and a second by Eric. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, we'll have an open session now. If there's an item you'd like to discuss with the council that's not on the agenda as a public hearing or for public input, now would be a good time to come up, state your name and address, and the council will hear you.
Sandy Carter, 2708 North, 450 West, Pleasant Grove, just in case you're wondering. What I'd like to ask, I've recently seen an article about the body cameras, and I am concerned, and I'd like to know, and I'd just like to ask the City Council, along with the Chief Smith, to see what can be done to solve that problem so that we can, in fact, use our body cameras as needed and be able to effectively, find a way to pay for the extra storage that's needed and necessary, and to be able to find that, hopefully, in a very quick manner. So I'm just something I wanted, I know you're already aware of it. I'm just concerned too. And I do trust each and every one of you, and I know that you'll do your best. I just wanted to let you know how I feel. It just really worries me and concerns me. And I know how much it means to each of you, how much it means to me as a citizen, and how much it means to them as officers, that they can do their job well to the very best of their ability, not only to protect themselves, to protect us, and to actually record actual evidence, what is said, what is done, and what happens. I know that's extremely important. So anyway, that's what I'd like to have addressed as soon as possible, and hopefully we can have more information or discussion about it in the future.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sandy. I
I-
believe our administrator and the chief have met today, and they're already started down that path. Did you have anything you wanted
No,
to
just,
add?
and Tina was involved too.
Oh,
so
and Tina. Okay,
we're
great.
putting together all the various facets that go into the body cams. I mean, finance is one, that was what was brought up in the article, but there are a few
Sure.
other issues. So we're going to prepare something for the council to take a look at and understand all the issues surrounding it.
Thank you. Just generally, keep in mind that oftentimes when we are interviewed, not all of our comments make it quite the same way into the media. And, you know, it's not a slam on the media. They're doing their job. It's just that a publication is not necessarily the whole story. And so we have to kind of remember that, you know, there's more to the story. So it's good that we're all aware. That's a good thing. Thank you. Okay, anyone else? If you have an empty chair next to you, please raise your hand. Okay, so we still have a few chairs. Those that are in the hall, if you'd like to come in and grab a seat, that'd be great. Mark, Bezant, how many people are in the hall there? 10? Okay. We're okay. All right. Anyone else for the open session? Okay. We'll close the open session and come back here to address number 6, the consent items. Any discussion on the consent items? Seeing none, I'll call for a motion.
Mayor, I make a motion to approve the consent items.
And I'll second it.
We have a motion by Eric, a second by Diana. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous. Okay. And I have interviewed those that are listed here. If you're here, if you could please stand. We'd like to consider appointment of Tina Fontana as a member of the Arts Commission and Jeff Mendenhall. Let's see, Jeff, is he in the hall? Okay. As a member of our Historic Preservation Committee. Would you like to step up and just introduce yourself?
I'm Tina Fontana. I guess I'll say my address. I live at 1800 North, 6 West in Pleasant Grove. I've been here in Pleasant Grove for 5 years, so I'm kind of new to Pleasant Grove. So this is exciting, my first city council meeting. I actually have a degree in theater arts from BYU and business management, and I've done a lot of arts administration. I'm from the Bay Area, San Jose, so I've done a lot there. And so I'm excited to come and serve on the Arts Commission here. And I have to say I have to leave right after this because I'm the costumer of the PG Players Show, and tonight is our dress rehearsal. So I just was finishing just into costumes right before I came, and I'll be hand sewing as I leave.
Can you
here.
tell us a little bit about their upcoming production, Tina? Is it this week?
It opens Friday. It's called Over the River, and it's a great little show about family, and so everybody come and see it. So it'll be a
Is
lot
this
of
your
fun.
first time being the costumer for that production?
It is. It's my first time working with costumes for the
Oh.
PG Players.
That's
So
awesome.
I'm excited to serve in that respect. That's kind of different from my Arts Commission.
Yeah,
But yeah,
we're excited to have you. Welcome.
so thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Tina.
I'll call for a motion on the appointments.
I make the motion that we appoint Tina Fontana as an Arts Commission member and Jeff Mendenhall as a Historic Preservation Committee member.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Sid and a second by Lynn. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Tina. Appreciate it. Okay. On the next item, I'm going to have Scott Darrington introduce the item. This is our public hearing to receive your input on potential locations for the future fire station if it is funded. You have that on?
There's another chair right there.
We have a couple of chairs here, one in the front row and one next to Jennifer.
We'd also,
down.
staff, we have some staff here if you want to We've talked about this. If we need a room, we're going to send them into community development offices so we can create some more room for the public. So we will excuse them.
Out very quickly.
They don't get to go home. They just are going to go over here.
They can go home if they want.
They'll take you up on that.
There are food trucks out there.
We do still have a couple seats if people want to come sit. That seat up here. Yeah, right. This one's open.
We also have one in the front row right here.
For a little person.
All right, I'll get started here. My name's Scott Darrington. I'm the city administrator for Pleasant Grove City. Mayor, council, and members of the public. What I have up here on our screen, and I also have handouts here. So for those that are in the hallway, they can follow along. And then whatever's left, if we send it back this way. Some might not be able to see what's on the screen here. For quite a extended period of time, we've been having discussions about new public safety facilities. We will have on our November 8th elections, there will be a bond proposal for $9.5 million to build these facilities. This has been studied quite a bit. We have had a public safety building committee that's looked at this extensively in the last 16 months. And one of the things that still has not been resolved is the potential location for our fire station. The police and courts building, it was determined that they needed to stay downtown for proximity issues with our courts and police. It made more sense to keep them downtown. The fire station probably has a little bit more of a ability to be mobile, whether they are downtown or at the pipe plant property. So I'll show you the two proposed locations, and that's what we're here for tonight, is to get public input on either of these locations and your thoughts and feelings from the public. So what you see in front of you here is one proposed location for the fire station. This right here is Main Street. This is First East and Second South, so if people have their bearings. This is the old rec center right here. This is the old seminary building, and this is the downtown park. And just so everybody understands, this is what's being proposed right now. Things could change a little bit, I guess, if we get funded and head into design. But we have had an architect take a look at this, and this has been his recommendation as far as potential layout on the site. So one potential location is for the fire station to be located on this corner right here. If this location were to be chosen, then it is highly likely that the old rec center would need to be raised in order for that to happen. So this is one of the locations being considered. The other location being considered is what we refer to as the pipe plant property. This is 600 west here and 800 north. The pipe plant property in all area is about 40 acres. And the potential site would be in this corner. There'd be the northwest corner of the property for the fire station to be located there. So that's the two potential locations. There have been other locations studied. We looked at the rodeo grounds and maybe a few other places. These are the two that have been really settled on in regards to those that really have the most potential. And so that's what we have before you. Is there any questions from the council?
No.
Okay. So with that, I'll turn it back to the mayor. I will say for those that are going to speak, this microphone is best served if you hold it up and put it right up to your mouth. If you hold it out like that, then people can't really hear. So please hold it up. We are live streaming this meeting, recording this meeting, and we do want those that are participating in that manner to be able to hear the dialogue.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
A couple of things to note about the particular layout that you see. It was explained to us by the architect that helped us with this process that there are 6 steps when you go through a design construction project. And the part that we spent the last year and a half on was the first 5%. So you can imagine with 95% of the work remaining, a lot can happen. If the public were to fund this project, the rest of that 95% of the work needs to take place. And that 95% could very much involve different shapes and sizes of buildings, different layouts, different footprints, and how they're actually situated on the properties. And so what you see in front of you are just initial concepts for this many square feet, this kind of a layout on each of the 2 parcels that were anticipated. And that's why with the initial proposal that the architect put in front of us, this is what it looks like at the pipe plant, and then the other one where it looks like it's covering the old recreation center. There were also, I don't know, 2 or 3 pages of different issues that the committee, the Citizens Committee, addressed with respect to locations. Many of them were financial, many of them were practical use, some dealt with emotional or cultural or historical value. So some of the subjects that you might bring up tonight, they could have been discussed thoroughly by the committee, and where we can, we'll answer those questions. The committee did not reach consensus on a location. I think that's where we kind of stopped and left it to the council with the citizens' input. And that's really why we're here tonight. We're here to be sponges and absorb your input with respect to your preferences on whether it should be downtown or whether it should be at the pipe plant. We're not really here to discuss the 9.5 million. That public hearing was a couple of weeks ago. So with that, here are the ground rules for the discussion this evening. The council is going to be really trying to exercise restraint as the evening goes on by not bursting into your conversation or, trying to correct what's being said or getting into one-on-ones. So the normal order that we do this in is you get up, you state your name and address, you speak to the council. You don't speak to other members in the audience, and the audience does not shout out and speak back at the person that's talking. So anybody that wants to talk, please come up and state your name and address and stand at the podium and address the council. And then if the council wants to address you, they'll probably ask me first, and then we'll go ahead and address the person that's standing at the podium. Now, if there are a lot of people that want to speak this evening, we're going to set a timer, and Kathy is the timer. She's going to allow 3 minutes per person. If you get up and you find that your comments are pretty much the same as another individual, get up and say, I agree with so-and-so, and try to remember what their name was so that, we can get an idea of where you're coming from. Now, as far as decision making, the council will set a date 2 weeks from now to think about what the input is received, and then they'll have a discussion, a public discussion, where they have an opportunity as a council to deliberate on what has been presented and what they've been thinking. And then 2 weeks after that, which would be the week prior to the election, we're going to see if the council can announce which location they're thinking of to build the fire station on. So that would be October 1st, I believe.
November 1st.
November 1st, excuse me. Yeah, the 1st October is already passed. Okay. Any procedural questions?
Mayor, can I just add as staff, if we get concerns, questions from the public, we're keeping notes of those. If there's things that we need to research over the next 2 weeks, we're writing them all down so that we don't necessarily have to worry about any loose ends and we can get it all figured out.
How many of you anticipate speaking this evening? Could you raise your hand? All right. I don't think we need to make the list necessarily. I think if you just want to line up and take turns, getting up to the microphone will be okay. But let's go ahead in the interest of everyone's time. Try to keep your remarks to 3 minutes, and you'll hear a loud interrupting beeping sound. That's pretty much your cue to stop talking and sit down. And we recognize that, for those that are not public speakers or accustomed to that, we can get emotional. We'll take that into consideration. Try to relax, breathe, speak. We know we want to get through this. So with that, we're going to turn it over to you. If you'd like to address the council on this subject, please come up to the microphone, state your name and your address, and then Kathy will go ahead and start the clock.
And Mayor, the hostess in me is very concerned about the 18 inches that each of them have, and I'm just wondering if we can just have the guys on the inside just move their chairs just a little bit so that you can all inch out a little bit.
Oh,
is that too much?
The center aisle?
Maybe just like these guys and those guys, if
Well,
they would just move into
Just
the
maybe
aisle.
inch
6
over about
inches,
12 inches, then you guys
and
can
everybody
spread
can
out
just
a
kind of
little.
like take a
Thank
breath.
you.
I'm sorry.
Fire marshal's not here, right?
No, as long as you can still run up and down the aisle, we're good.
Mayor, he's actually right
Marshal's
there.
not here.
He's actually
Not
right
here.
there.
Close the door. He's not in the room. Okay,
Anyway.
Are we ready?
we're ready.
Wendy Morgan, 1595 North 210 East in Pleasant Grove. I did some research on this on the city's website, and so I do have some reading to do, so if you'll please be patient and bear with me. Is it still not? How's that? Better?
Perfect.
In the Downtown 2020 Action Plan that was adopted on July 1st, 2008, on page 5 it reads that part of the design structure was to get downtown into top physical shape and capitalize on its best assets such as historical buildings. Page 9 says that the design theme was determined to be turn of the century. Page 10 says that the number one priority is to preserve the history of Pleasant Grove. Throughout the entire document, maps identify the downtown area as being preserved and maintained to create an inviting and family atmosphere. Pages 30 to 31 speak of promotion, and the suggestions for revitalizing downtown included special sales and events, entertainment, cultural events, festivals, and seasonal. Some of our most unifying events in the city are held at the Recreation Center and surrounding areas. In the Pleasant Grove Downtown Village Design Standards and Guidelines that was adopted on June 7th, 2011, page 3 says that the number one purpose and objective of the design standards and guidelines is to preserve the history of Pleasant Grove. Page 6 refers to the Downtown 2020 Action Plan that reads, Downtown Pleasant Grove will become a vibrant village of mixed uses, promoting a pedestrian-friendly atmosphere and providing excellence in landscaping and architecture in a setting which, and I quote, honors and preserves the past while promoting the future. Throughout the document, demolition of buildings with historic character are discouraged. On page 7, the standards required by city code state the city council shall deny approval for any site plan that fails to conform to the requirements of Pleasant Grove Downtown Village Design Standards and Guidelines, and that's city code section 10-11G-5-E. On May 10th, 2016, the Pleasant Grove Fire Department put on their Facebook page that they've been converting a building at the pipe plant already for training. I've also contacted John Hancock Charter School, which is one of the many institutions that uses the rec center for educational purposes. They do pay rent, so there is a revenue source there. And I would like to present the letter to the council and mayor for your review. But they do urge the council to select a different location so that they may continue to use the rec center for education. My personal thoughts and insights are that throughout city documents, historic downtown is mentioned as something that needs to be preserved over and over and over again, and that does include the rec center. If we destroy downtown, we will lose our past, and we will forsake it for our future.
Thank you.
Diana Jacob, 210 West, 900 North. Scared to death. I have a, yeah, please, you'll have to. I have just a personal, because this is my neighborhood at the pipe plant. So a lot of my concerns address traffic. The roads weren't built for a lot of traffic. On the northwest corner that they're talking about, if you head west, if people park in the road, cars have a hard time passing. So that's one of my concerns. And another thing is we have crossing guards right there. That's where our kids cross, for school. And I don't know that we have an emergency vehicles in a school crossing zone right there. The other concern I have, First West, the intersection of First West and 400 North is offset. So you're talking about rebuilding a lot of roads. When you pull up heading east on the 4th North, you don't have visibility to pull out in traffic. So that's another one of my concerns from living in this area. The other thing, how the shoulders, there's no, where the pipe plant is, of course, there's a shoulder, but when you head further north, there's no shoulder to pull over on to let the emergency vehicles go by. So a lot of my concerns are addressing the safety. If they go south on 600, that's a nightmare getting out on Center Street, and it's already congested. I just think it'll be a mess for our responders to get out, to get to places at this location. I made some notes on my phone so I wouldn't forget. I think that's about it. And I'm a lifelong resident of Pleasant Grove, and I love the rec center, but I don't feel that it's been maintained. And I think it's great to keep our fire station here in the city center, right in the middle of town. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Mark Ryan, 1194 North, 850 East in Pleasant Grove. I don't like the way you advertise the meeting. You distinguish the pipe plant down here, that address, and here it's just on the northeast corner of such and such a road. I think you would have had many, many more people here tonight if you had distinguished where this building was actually going to be a little bit better. But second of all, I'm still pissed that the city wants to take down our rec building. That's one thought. Second of all, I think putting the fire department by the park is probably the best idea if you had. And I don't think the city building belongs here. Fire departments and parks go together perfectly for children. I've said this for a long time in front of the city. I think the city needs to either block right down here where the police department is, take down that ridiculous library we have and put the police department right on the corner. That's where that needs to go. You've got all this land across the street over here, and Ken Young and the city had a presentation years ago where fire department and police department were going to go over there. Why aren't you looking at the land you already own across the street? I want you to give the public, the residents here, a full block city park. We need a full block city park. We don't need your buildings down here at the edge of our city park. We need to save our rec center, get rid of this building, get rid of the fire department, let the fire department have a new building like they deserve, and let us have a full block city park. We like this building. The city doesn't want this old building here. I know you want to spend $9 million on new buildings, and it's a good idea. We need all the facilities you're talking about. Just stay out of this block where the park is. Give us a full block city. This is the center of town. This is the attraction of town. It's not your new buildings. You've got lots of land you can build on. It doesn't have to be in this block. That's my opinion.
Thank you, Mark.
I'm Alan Kay. I live at 891 East, 750 North in this town. I've been here for 26 years. I'm upset at this situation. I've tried to explain to you people before, I've been here before, trying to tell you about fixed income. It's fixed, it doesn't go up. Your taxes, when I came here 26 years ago, my water bill was $28. Now it's $128. That's astronomical. Okay, look. So if you want to, the building that you want to build a new building, that's fine. But if you take the money that you would take out of some land you could sell and use that money to build your building. Don't ask the citizens to pay for it, because we just don't have the money for it. The taxes are too high now, and so you could make a nice profit out of that, off that land that you want to build a building on. The pipe plant, you could sell that to some developer, and you could put a bunch of houses in there, and you make a lot of money on that, and use that money to build a building. But that's all I'm asking for is you use your own money, not our money, to build your building. Thank you.
Thanks, Alan.
I'm Trina Vizard. I live at 1196 East, 830 South. I've been a resident for 21 years. I was on the Public Safety Committee that has spent over a year in coming to these conclusions, and I do want to kindly correct the mayor. It was not our responsibility to pick a location. It was our responsibility to come up with some options for the council. So we never had to worry about being unanimous on location, which was wonderful. My vote is to have them both downtown. I love the way it is now, except that we have very old buildings and very outdated everything. And we really need these new buildings. And my vote is to have it downtown. Now, just for the rest of you to know, those of us on the committee, we did consider the rec center. But the rec center needs more than $1 million to put back in place. And nobody has come forth to say, here's $1 million, put it back into place. And we don't have the funds and also build a police department and a fire department to also redo the rec center. So that was the issue. So I don't want to go on and on. I just want to let you know that I vote personally for having them both downtown. However, I do support this council. I have really gotten to know them in this process. And if they decide differently or the public decides differently, I would support whatever is decided. So thank you.
Thank you, Trina.
My name is Rochelle Bolingbrook. I live at 7 North Clayton Court. And I just also wanted to say that I've lived here for over 20 years in Pleasant Grove. Also taught school here at a local elementary school, so I have a dear to my heart for Pleasant Grove. It is growing, and it's wonderful that it's growing, but we do need to update our buildings. And I do vote to have our police department and our fire station right next to each other. They need to be close to each other. I did drive down that road today by the pipeline, and it's just, as was mentioned earlier, not a prime spot, especially with the roads and the traffic there. I agree with that. This location where it is right now to build on this is prime. Like, it's just thoroughfare to so many streets and more access to get throughout Pleasant Grove quickly. It's already here and set. Anyway, so that is my vote, and I do support the council also, and we'll go with whatever you decide to do. But we do need to build a new building. They definitely need to be upgraded. I don't feel like we are losing any history of Pleasant Grove by doing that. We're definitely preserving it and updating it and making it what it should be. So thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Charles Ray. Can everybody hear me? I live in 35 East Maple Lane in Pleasant Grove. If you're going to put a firehouse, say, right to where that rec center, knock this street out right behind you. You don't need it. Linden did theirs. They took it out and made it a parking lot. Yep. And when you do your firehouse, make it where they drive through, not backing up to get under the water hose. Make it where they can go through, fill up, and if they got to go out, put a light out in the middle of the street. When they hit that door, that light will go red. I don't see it here. I notice the fire department has a hard time getting out on this street. If you're going to keep it here, put a street light out there. Make the state put it in for you. When that door cracks up, that light goes red. If anybody runs that red light, you got a cop sitting right over there. You can give them tickets. And that's how you're going to get your, make the ticket stiff where it'll hurt the person's back pocket. because I think your drivers on them fire trucks are getting tired backing up. I would for that big war horse. But if you're going to build, I agree with her. If you're going to put it down at the pipe plant, you're going to have to widen the streets, knock some trees out, everything. And you're going to put up some street lights and all that. There's a lot of kids down there use that for a crosswalk. Don't put it down there. Just sell that property and get rid of it. Because you're going to have to strip it to get all that chemical off the top of the property. And that's going to cost you a lot of money. Think about it.
Thank you.
That's all I got to say.
Hi, I'm going to be the one that hyperventilates here.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Right in the tip.
Right?
Yep.
There, okay.
And then start with
hearing
your
my voice is going to make me
name
hyperventilate.
and address. Breathe. Yep.
Okay.
Name and address.
Are right here.
Okay.
We're good.
I may need you. My name's Liza Carter. I live at 625 North, 300 East in Pleasant Grove. I moved here in '99. I am very concerned about losing the gym. I am very pro historic preservation. I think what little history we have left in downtown needs to be saved. And I understand the concerns of moving things and having them different, but I just think we need what history we have left. I'm very upset that all the homes have been bought up over here. I think that's terrible. When I go to places, I look for historic downtowns. And anywhere I go, that's the first thing I seek out is historic downtowns. Small cemeteries, things like that. But I really believe that what we have here, because it's all we have left, if you look around, I think it needs to be saved. I do. I don't know how everybody's going to vote. I don't know what's going to happen. The only other thing I can think is if you give up on the pipe plant, I think it would be wonderful if there was a way to incorporate the gym into the building and maybe also reflect the architecture of the building so it matches the gym, because at least then we still have something historic left. And I appreciate the opportunity to
Thank you.
voice my opinion.
Scott, question on the properties across the street. Have we sold some of those back into the private sector?
We've sold them all.
All of them now?
Yeah.
Okay, just an FYI, a few years ago, the city had acquired some properties to the east side of First East, and following public feedback on, expansion and use of funds, the city went ahead and sold those back into the private sector. I believe we recovered all of the money.
Yeah, I mean, we got back all the money we initially invested in buying those properties, and that money will be used to towards, if the building gets funded, that money will be used towards the building of the building.
Okay, hope that helps. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Polly Williams, and it's kind of interesting. You step up to this podium and you forget your address. I live at 469 East, 1560 North, here in Pleasant Grove. And Smith Rexall Drug on Main Street was my great-great-great-grandfather's drugstore. It's still in my family today. Pleasant Grove is a place that, although I didn't have the privilege of being raised here, is a place I've spent hours and hours in my childhood, and I'm thrilled to be able to live here now. And preserving what history we have left downtown is vitally important to me. Because once that history is gone, it's gone. I love the idea of if you choose to put the fire station downtown, to incorporate the rec center in that. My mom is a graduate of Jordan High, and I love how they at least have the doorway there. So at least there's some aspect of the history there.
Talking about your sister? Sorry.
Actually, we just barely met.
Okay,
and we didn't even call each other about the stripes and the gray.
Okay.
And preserving history is vitally important. So much progress has just annihilated history. And on a selfish note, the rec center is the last building that I know my grandfather and grandmother went to a dance in. And so I know that that's very personal for me, but I know I'm also not the only one that has those same memories. Okay. And my husband used to be a firefighter, and the traffic idea is an important concept, but he said it's actually easier to be away from downtown traffic. A lot of times you can get places faster, and I understand it would not be fun to have fire sirens going through your neighborhood, but we already own the land over there. We wouldn't be destroying anything. So I think the pipe plant is a far better way to go just to preserve Pleasant Grove's heritage.
Thank you.
Hi, Mayor. Hi, council members. My name is Jabin Dix, and I live at 610 West, 800 North. I'd like to point out that you can actually see the corner of my property on the map that is on the screen right now. As I walked around my little neighborhood in that exact corner that is being shown at the Pike Place, or the Pike plant, I couldn't help but notice how peaceful it is. That is full of trees, kids playing in the yards, houses all over that place. There are houses. This is a very residential neighborhood where there are people peacefully living. I'd like to point out the name of the city, Pleasant Grove. Love this city. Absolutely love it because it is pleasant. A fire department in that location, in my opinion, would cease that area, that neighborhood, that part of Pleasant Grove from being pleasant. I'm concerned about all-night emergency vehicles running up and down that road. I'm concerned about children in the area trying to play. I'm concerned about the property values right there of the houses in that area, as I fear they may go down if there's a fire department right there on that corner. And could I also reiterate what's been mentioned before, the traffic. That road 600 West is not that big of a road. It does not have a lot of room for fire trucks and other large vehicles getting up and down, cars getting off to the side. It really can't carry a lot of that kind of traffic. The other crossroad there, 800 North, has no access to main roads at all. If you go east on 800 North, it comes to a dead end. It does not lead into a big road or anything. It actually goes by a very peaceful graveyard. I just feel that a fire department in that area would be a tragedy to the neighborhood. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
My name is Gary Greaves. I live at 210 West, 900 North. We didn't have a problem tearing down the old high school here, but we,
Gary,
for some reason.
just hold the mic right up there.
There you go.
Just, yeah, there you go.
To the tip.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have a problem tearing down the high school portion of the property here, and the rec center is very old. There ain't no reason why it can't be taken down and put a new fire station here. The only problem is you need the bays going this way so that we can facilitate the carnival once a year.
Okay.
The park will stay the same to the west of us. My time ain't up. The pipe plant should be a soccer field / flag football, whatever have you. It needs to be left for recreational sports. The kids right now don't have a place that they can say is big enough to be able to have a scrimmage game of anything unless it's baseball. All these other kids play in the backfields to the baseball or flag football when the baseball games are over. So these guys need a field, and we need to preserve some park space that's open. I mean, voice of the kids that play soccer right here. You know, these guys need somewhere to go to have that open area for soccer. Right now they're playing in the end zones. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna ask, while it's a pleasant thing, everybody clapping, to refrain, because I don't want to hear the other part in case we get there if we're not clapping. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Drew Armstrong. I live at 995 East Center Street. I really appreciate the camera. I've watched a lot of the public safety building meetings from my home, and I think that's a fantastic service for our city, and I like that it didn't cost very much money. I think one of the things that's
self-endorsement here. Drew helped us with that.
I didn't want to have to come down to all these meetings. I think that one of the things that's really important for everybody to realize is that Provo City, I lived in Provo City. I moved here in 2000, and I lived in Provo City when Provo went through the refurbishment of the BY Academy. And at that point, it cost $14 million to get that building to where it was safe and to where it's the beautiful thing that it is today. That was 20 years ago. The problem that we have right now is just to bring our current building up to FEMA standards so that it's seismically safe. I mean, you know, we can't even put Christmas lights on that thing anymore because it's too dangerous to get on the roof. They literally cannot get on the roof of the building. The reason that we built a new rec is because our old rec was inadequate. So we built a new rec center. It's nice to have this old building sitting there because the space is nice. But it's $1.5 million just to bring it up, according to Bones and Collins, if I remember from listening to the meetings, just to bring the it up to current FEMA standards. It'll be another $1.5 million to remodel it, if we're going to remodel it to where we can actually use it, to where the minute that, I mean, I love Holy Cow. I love the historic nature of the downtown. I hope the new building, I would like a fire station down here, and I hope that it will fit. I trust that you guys will put it together in a way that will fit to where it feels like a downtown, and it carries the historic nature. But I know that I am not willing to spend even $5 million refurbishing this old building. We've fought for 3 years to try to get a new, very much needed, some new facilities here. And if you compare the need of a second rec to, when we have the new rec already built, if we say, okay, this is going to be $5 million to get this to the point where we can actually safely use it for the next 30 years, I don't think any of us are comfortable with that. And I think ignoring the fact that this is a super deficient structure, and not only that, it's not architecturally what it once was. 50 years ago, they took a whole lot of the architectural features off. It doesn't look like it initially did. The south end is completely different. The facade's different. You guys should all go look at the old pictures of that building. It was very different, very beautiful. But anyhow, that's my 2 cents.
Thank you, Drew.
Hi, my name is Jill Bowen, and I live at 651 North, 600 West. So my house is at the left-hand bottom corner of that map.
There should be a pointer right there for Jill, you or anyone else that.
A pointer?
Yeah, if you want. Yeah, just for you or anyone else wants to point.
Right there. And so I am not a good public speaker. I'm a woman of little words. So this is big for me to stand up, and I just wanted to voice my concern, meaning living right there. Lots of people have already addressed the concerns that I have, but just another voice for the concern of the safety of the neighborhood with it's been brought up, like that 800 North is a major walkway for children walking home from the junior high and coming home from the elementary school, and that the roads are not sufficient. And then I am concerned also of the value of the homes in that area. I've lived here for 24 years and really love the neighborhood, and I just feel that it's going to be extremely disruptive.
Jill, can I ask really quick?
Sure.
The schools you're referring to, Pleasant Grove Junior High, John Hancock, and is there another one right there?
Mount Mahogany. Yeah.
Okay. So students in that area walk to
Yes.
in your neighborhood right there.
Yes.
That's where they go. Okay.
Thank you.
My name is Bob Webster. I live at 770 North, 100 West. I'm just east of the site you're looking at here. I moved to Pleasant Grove a little over a decade ago in 13. And my first thought, this is a nice, pleasant, small community. I like that. My other thought was when I saw the police and fire situation downtown, I thought, ooh, that is crowded. And they've got to dump those great big trucks out onto quite a small street out here. And yet they've been doing it for years and getting by with it. But I know a lot of other communities where they depend on having big avenues to exit onto. So I favor the pipe plant from that standpoint of egress onto a large street. If the gentleman talked about 600 West not being a very big street, the one outside is no better, no bigger. And they've been getting by with it, and we need to upgrade that. I like the standpoint of that it's got room to build and expand on, and without being squeezed. I think the site right here to the south of us is still a squeeze. There are some advantages I see administratively of having police and fire still together. It's always been together, and there's definitely some advantages that way. But I like the ingress features of the pipe plant. And also, if we can expand our vision to the future a little bit, the southwest corner of this pipe plant area is where the drainage flows to. I'm glad they look at this corner because the drainage in minor flood situations flows away from this location. But the southwest place is an ideal place to have not only a drainage basin, but to surround that drainage basin with hills, because this little town has no sled hill. And this would be an ideal place in the future to develop that. For those concerned about that restricted 800 North Road, yes, we use that road daily, and it is a problem. And I'm sure if that building, that fire station gets built there, that will be on the burner here to get fixed, so that it is the same width as it is clear up by the cemetery. And this same width all the way through. There'd be good egress that way to the rest of the community. So for several reasons, future expansion, lots of room. Just from a practical viewpoint of an outsider who moved here, I favor the development of this pipe plant property. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Jeff Hamilton, 359 West, 400 North. So obviously there's been a lot of good comments made. So when I built my house, I talked to the city, and so my house is on the other side of this pipe plant, but so on the opposite side. But basically I was told by the city at that time that would be parks, and that possibly there'd be some development there. And so I say my vote is that we keep the buildings here downtown together, just like, and there can be some great compromise, some great comments about how we can make it historical, and instead of spending millions of dollars trying to revamp a building that's going to fall down. Anyways, but this pipe plant was always supposed to be parks. It's supposed to be water retention, soccer fields, and that's what that city needs. I mean, sell a section of it, sell 10 acres to a developer, use the land to help pay for these buildings, to help pay for the parks. I mean, use the dollars that can be used wisely, because this area is getting older, so you put some new neighborhoods, it maintains property values. If you put a fire station there, just like everyone else already said, values will drop. You have all the traffic, all the noise. It's already here. Everyone here is used to all the noise, the endless sirens going on different times. So it makes... Sorry. You knew that when you built or were bought or whatever. But basically, I mean, a lot of these comments have already been made, but it just makes more logical sense. But to really have the pipe plant should be what it was designed to be. And for those people that are around it, you have all the acreage, you could easily sell some of the land and use that money towards developing the land, building these buildings that need to be built in a economical manner. So it's not all coming out of our pockets, because technically we all paid for this land that's been sitting there for, I don't know, decades. So that's what I got to say.
Thank you.
Hi, Wayne Nauman, 2370 North, 180 West in Pleasant Grove. I've had the opportunity over the past year to work with the committee as we've evaluated this, and I appreciate the comments here tonight. There are a lot of great perspectives, and I have a lot of respect for people and what you've said. One of the things I just wanted to point out, a couple of things actually. First, Pleasant Grove is known as the city of trees, but I also think Pleasant Grove is known as the city of families. And one of the things that I worry about the previous plan as we show it and show the buildings downtown is that this park essentially becomes kind of a strip of grass along the side of these other buildings. And one of my concerns is I went to the city of Springville. Of course, a lot of people look at Springville as a model where they have their fire station, their city buildings downtown. They also have a great splash pad, which would be very popular. I know some citizens here are interested in a similar arrangement. But one of the concerns that was expressed to me was when the fire alarm goes off and the firemen are getting in their trucks and ready to leave, they become almost narrow vision. They need to get to that emergency as quickly as possible. And one of the concerns that they have is one of these little children out at the splash pad or there at the park is going to run over to see what all the noise is about, and suddenly little Johnny's going to be in front of the fire truck. As I look at the other plan, we lose a lot of space downtown for parking and other things. I think it's a great opportunity and would encourage the council to consider this as an opportunity to add additional green space and a place for gathering and for families. I think there's a great opportunity at the pipe plant. A lot of people have already mentioned ideas that we could use that land for. I think those are great. I don't think with as much property as there that we have to exclude any of the ideas that have been presented. I think there's room there for fields and other things, and I just would appreciate your consideration of those facts. Thanks.
Thank you.
I'm Jeannie Nunn. I live at 1045 West, 160 North, Pleasant Grove. You notice I had to close my eyes to think of my address. In my retirement, since moving out here, I've been studying geology, and I'm not very deep into it yet, but Utah is so rich, and I'm really enjoying it. Although the fault line is up against the mountains, the epicenter, as near as I can figure from the maps I've been able to gain access to, is just about under us, which means that if and when the big one hits, this area is going to be what's going to receive the worst. I'm seeing a lot of heads nodding. People that know more than I do, I hope, are agreeing with me. And it concerns me because the old buildings were not built they weren't built the way we build now. And I love the historic things too. I'm becoming historic myself, and at this point in my life. And I'm all for preserving everything that we can. But I think these old buildings are doomed. And I think that's something to be taken into account. NIMBY, no, not in my backyard. Nobody wants something coming into their yard. And I can appreciate the problem over there. And I have mixed feelings about this, but I have looked at the future development zoning for Pleasant Grove, and just about everything, my directions get so mixed up, even with the mountains out here, I'm sorry, but everything from Macy's on to American Fork has been zoned for multiple dwellings, multiple family dwellings. There's going to be a high concentration of people out there. And I just think that needs to be taken into consideration. Not that, as I understand where this is, we're not getting it a whole lot more to the east, but it is going to be closer to where the biggest concentration of people is going to be and the biggest possible loss of life if there is a fire, because that's just all that out there is zoned for apartments and townhomes. The other thing that's bothering me a little bit is I don't think we can talk about your money and our money because you guys have not been elected for your philanthropy. You know, I don't think any of you are billionaires. And it's all everybody's money, and it is hard to be on a fixed income. I have great sympathy both directions. So all I've done is raise opposing ideas, but maybe it'll help somebody pick out which ones are more important. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Doug Anderson at 820 North 300 West. I'm wondering if staff could show a smaller scale map of the city so I can address some access points based on the pipe plant. Would that be possible?
Give me just a minute, see if I can pull it up on Google.
While he's pulling that up, I'll just mention that the pipe plant property, it's not dreams or hopes, but it was purchased with park money. So the plan is not to lose.
No, the pipe plant was purchased with storm drain funds.
Oh, wasn't there a grant for parks that was included in that?
No, the entire pipe plant, all 40 acres was purchased.
I'm corrected. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
But then the dream would be, and it's on the city plan, that would be a park. So we're not losing park space by building downtown, but we will lose park space if we build at the pipe plant. So that drainage basin could be used for parks. So what I'm talking about here, if I can get this pen to work, is the corner of 800 West. Let's see if we can get that on there. And 600 North. That's where the pipe plant is. So we're looking at this corner right here. That's right. No, it's 800 North. This one right here. You'll notice that there are only 3 points of access to the entire city at that point. So either a fire truck would need to come down to Center Street where there's an unregulated railroad crossing, which is dangerous, or they'd have to go to 1100 North, which is also an unregulated intersection. There's not even a four-way stop sign there. And so I would recommend for staff to run a couple of GIS simulations so that the fire department can see access time. So they can see how long would it take to get to different parts of the city from this location. I think that would help the council make an informed decision if they knew how long it would take based on the models to get access points, because those two are some of the two most dangerous access points in the city. 8th North, as was mentioned, is a dead end on this side by the junior high, and it's also takes a little curve right here, so it dead ends near Mount Mahogany Elementary School. So that really only leaves you east or north-south access to the whole city, which I think is a dangerous proposition when everyone's depending on the fire department to only have 2 access points to the whole city. So I appreciate the map, and I'm obviously in favor of the downtown location.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Rachel Dodge, and I live at 301 West, 400 North, and I have a bit of a cold, so forgive my voice. I do live right across from the pipe plant on 4th North there, and I'm new to Pleasant Grove. I've only lived here 3 years, but from where I moved from, I was near a fire station. Please don't do that to me again. I've had experience with that, and you know, sirens go off at all times at night, and at the pipe plant location, that is near a lot of homes, and that noise does carry quite a bit. And I agree with Mr. Anderson. You know, I've thought about the access points. I have a hard time getting out on Center Street off of 6 West, and that's my closest access point. You know, with the railroad, with the weird turn right next to State and Center, it's just a congested area, you know, at non-high traffic times. But when it's rush hour traffic times, it's just a mess right there. And so, I mean, I live in an old house. I understand wanting to preserve historical things. But I think making things better for the community where people actually live is of more importance in this situation, because there are a lot of other things downtown, and I do like the comments about building something that reflects that architecture, reflects that history, and is a building Pleasant Grove can be proud of. And I think that's everything. So thank you.
Thank you.
My name's Chris Willis. Can you hear me? My name is Chris Willis, and I live at 550 North. That's true. You lose memory as soon as you step up here. 663 West. I've heard a lot of good comments, and I understand everybody's concerns. I understand safety, kids' safety, not wanting to hurt anybody. And I just wanted to bring this home just a little bit. You can look around where the pipe plant location is. Those are all homes. They're not city buildings. They're not swimming pools. They're not any of the central city type buildings. Those are homes. My home is just a little bit further off the map. That's my home. My kids, I don't have to worry about them being down at a park and maybe getting out in front of a truck. I have to worry about them getting across the street. And as I look from my house, I'll be able to see it. And I'm not even one of the closest ones. Jill Bowen got up and spoke. Adam Shelley's here. I apologize for not getting permission to use names, but my neighbors are here. I could go and I could rattle off names of everybody who lives there because that's our community. We walk with our children holding hands down 600 from 550 North down that section. I'm very concerned that there's not a big enough shoulder, and I'm concerned about my kids getting hit by just a car on a 25-mile-an-hour residential street, which I understand won't do justice to a fire department, okay? So to me, my big concern is if we put it there, we're taking up people's homes. This isn't a city type decision, what's best, what's worst. This is whose home are we going to completely change from here on into the future. This is where I come home and sit down and eat with my family. It's right across the street, and the same with dozens of other people. The other issue I have is in order to facilitate having this fire department where it is, do we need to put in sidewalks because there aren't sidewalks there? Do we need to widen the road? My concern is that these are 25-mile-an-hour streets, and it is 100%, no kidding, residential. This is like putting a fire department in the middle of a small neighborhood. And what are you going to have to do to open up those streets and make it accessible so that it'll actually work? And does that invite more traffic? Does it invite other things to happen that will make my home and other homes less appealing? The last question I have is, if we put that there, what does that do to the neighboring spots? Do we then have an option to go use one of those spots as an option if the city needs another building? And are we relocating the city center if we start down this road? And that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Just pause for 1 second. There are more seats now available inside the chamber if you'd like to come in from the hall. If you could raise your hand if you have an empty seat next to you. Just come on in and sit down. Keep your hands up. Anyone else? Okay, thank you.
And my name is Ken Mon. I'm at 209 West, 400 North. Lived there for 33 years. So we're on 400 North, just east of that south boundary of the pipe plant. And I know I've heard some things here that I agree with. A lot of things that I'm concerned with. There is a lot of space there at the pipe plant. On 400 North, my wife and I were talking, well, if they do put it over there, maybe they'll fix our street. It is a rough enough street that I drive on the left side. If I'm going east, I drive on the left side from 600 West up to my house.
And your license plate is?
I decline that one. Especially with Mike over there.
Full disclosure.
But, you know, and it's a very dark street. If you've ever walked up that street at night, I don't think you'd want to walk up that street at night alone. and it's very, very dark. There's a light that on the corner of 400 North and 2nd West that flickers a little bit once in a while, and that's about it. But I mean, there's some pros and cons. Now, one of the pros, if it was over there at the pipe plant, is you're real close to the villas. And, you know, there's a lot of older folks there, and as I understand it, I mean, you're there 2 or 3 times a week. So, you know, that would be an advantage. There's a lot of room there. I once saw a hang glider guy that was motorized flying in and out of the pipe plant, landing in between the buildings. You know, one of the points that Diana Jacob made was, as you go east on 400 North, you do come to 100 West. There is a jog there. I had one of my kids was in a wreck there, got totaled out because, I mean, okay, you're supposed to stop before the white line, you know, as you pull going east, for example.
You want to hold that right in front of your mouth.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. As you go east, you stop at 400 North. I mean, you're on 400 North going east at 100 West. That, as you're looking north, you can't see around the tree there. And so, yeah, you got to pull out, and really be careful, because otherwise, I mean, many times I have done exactly that. I've been very, very careful trying not to get hit. So, as Doug was pointing out, the main streets, if they came out and they had to go east, they might take 400 North because that one goes clear to 100 East, and because that's a main road. Well, you'd have to do something with the road there, and you'd have to do something with lighting, and so I am concerned about the historical aspect. I'd like to see things remain. I don't want to see historical places torn down. So if I had to take my vote, I'd say let's have it stay downtown here, but let's preserve our historical part of it, and I like the park.
Thank you.
Jerry Taylor, and I've memorized my address as 1075 North, 600 West. I've been working on it all night. I live 2 blocks north of 800 West, basically. And what has been said about the streets, I concur with that. I'm a little conflicted just because I have just been put on the Historical Commission. And I love the history of our city, and to tear down something that goes back to the 1920s is really hard to see. However, I would personally hope that the pipe plant is not the final resting place of our great fire department. I have just completed an article on the Atwood home that at the top of 600 West that had to be torn down because of it was compromised. It couldn't be saved. And what the Foxes did is amazing. They took that house apart brick by brick and board by board, and they palleted everything, and they have repurposed their home that it has been basically finished. Has all of the, boards that they had no idea were even there. And the brick have been repurposed. And there's so much history in that. And even though I don't want to see the rec center torn down, I would hope that the majority of that building could be repurposed into something that could save the history and just make it an important part of whatever buildings we are doing. And if you, don't tell the Foxes I told you to go see their house. But it's amazing. And as I walk in there, and as I did research, I found that my great my great grandfather did all the carpentry in that home. And I know that many of you, because I'm a lifelong citizen, and I love Pleasant Grove, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Thank you, Jory.
Hello, I'm Melanie Becht, 676 West, 600 North. And I strongly oppose the decision to move to the pipe plant location, primarily because of safety issues with the trucks moving both in the north and south direction. I don't feel that that is a safe avenue for an emergency vehicle to travel. And also because of my children having to walk to and from school from the junior high. Yes, we live west of 600 West and they don't walk home from the elementary school, but I only have one left to walk home from the elementary, and I still have 4 walking from the junior high. And although I do believe that if there was a pipe plant there, the road would be approved there, we might even get a sidewalk that would be maintained and taken care of. But I still am very concerned about the safety of my family and especially of the safety of our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Could I have the downtown
Name
map?
yes. Name and address, please.
My name is Blake Bueller, and I live just a block this way on 90 East, 200 South, the old blue Victorian home, right across the street from the.
Wait,
from
your
the
son's
fire
Weston?
It is.
Yeah.
We have the fun Halloween over there.
I was up at Valley View last night. He did our haunted house. So
He enjoyed
thank
that
you.
as well. You bet. So I basically am here selfishly. I love this town. I have lived near this town my entire life. I've been here about a year and a half in that particular home, but that home has been there over 110 years. And I love the fact that the Wadleys kept it pretty close to the way it probably ought to be. But I have some concerns of a couple of little things. Okay, first of all, what do I do to make this work? Push it?
Silver button on the side.
Oh, silver button on the side. Right there? That is my home right there. And your new proposal wants these big trucks to come right into my driveway and turn. Right now, they come out this way. And you know what? I really don't mind the noise. It's okay. We got used to it. But I really love having the carnival out in front of my home. We have one of the biggest rides right there. I just think that is the neatest thing since sliced bread. I love it. I love the small town little thing here. What I don't like, okay, I come from Highland. I ran for mayor up there. I was involved in politics a lot. And that is a totally different community because there is no downtown in Highland. It's a totally different thing, and I understand that. But here's some of the concerns I have. Okay, first of all, you have other traditions and other things going on other than just buildings. You have an event. You have PG days. You have your strawberry days. I used to come over as a teenager and get my strawberries and cream. I love the fact that it's in the middle of town. I love the fact that people can come out here into this little park and they can celebrate and they can rent it and they can have family reunions. And the city can have their little birthday parties and whatever they do there. I love the fact that I can walk across the street and go to the Holy Cow boutiques and the antique things and all of the other stuff that goes on there. This is my concern from a political standpoint. If you take this road away from the carnival and you move it to here, and I've also owned retail businesses, right there, you're going to, for an entire week, ruin some of the profits that some of these businesses may have, because this is all going to be rides and games and all kinds of other things, and it'll be blocked off for that week. I owned a retail establishment in Alpine, and Alpine is more suited to what you guys do here. And our establishment did 1.5 times what we did any other week during the celebration of Alpine Days. The other thing I'm concerned about, and I apologize, just 10 more seconds, this park right here is going to be an awfully tempting thing for the city. Yes, it might still be there right now, But in the future, you're going to need parking, you're going to need all kinds of, there's going to be growth, there's going to be all kinds of other things. And I love the fact that this park is in the middle of the town, and that when you have your PG days and other things that go on, that it does affect what may go on here in the future. So that's my 2 bits. And I would really love, if you do it here, let them come out this way rather than that way. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Shredder Watt. I live on, what was it, 185 West and 1100 North. Is that correct? Yeah. Yeah. And I live near the pipe plant. I live near the pipe plant, and it's quite nice. And if, kidding. But if you were put it there, yeah, it's going to be a problem with those streets. They're small. Plus, in this area, it's kind of better to put it there, but if you get rid of a wreck or whatever you want to do with it, at least put like a plaque there to like say that it was there and it had any of that. That's all I got.
Thank you.
Schrader, is that your first name? Strider, I'm sorry. Just thank you for getting up, because it's important to hear from the youth in our community, and I know that can be hard to get up in front of a lot of people. And you're going to be the ones living here, hopefully, for the next 50 years. And so I really appreciate you getting up as a youth in our community. So thank you.
So were you dared to stand up, or was it for extra credit on your merit badge?
It's extra credit.
Hi, I'm Cindy Boyd, 668 West, 4000 North. First of all, Mayor and Council and staff and chiefs and committee members, a big thank you to all of you who have spent so much time and energy researching, finding, coming to the task, and doing what's necessary to move this public safety building along. I give thanks to the staff, our chiefs, everyone, the committee members, and to you, Council and Mayor. Thank you so much.
You hold that just a tad closer to you,
Well,
Cindy.
I don't know that I can do 3 things at once, but we'll see how I go.
There you go.
Okay.
Perfect.
Well, let me see. Hold on. Let me get that where I can read. Okay. So, first of all, I am the Downtown Advisory Chair for the Downtown Advisory Board. And recently we have taken a few field trips and done a lot of our own research and discussed this item extensively in our meetings. As you can well imagine, the viability of the economics of our downtown is very important to the businesses in our downtown. They need the support of Pleasant Grove City. They need the support of us as citizens. And more are they discussing the viability of their businesses and the economic viability of downtown. It is so vital to the downtown to have the fire station, the police station in our downtown. As we've traveled around and seen many cities, and as I've traveled around, even in Utah and outside of Utah, the downtown is what's happening. It is the heart of the community. It is usually the historic. Every one of them is usually called the historic downtown. It is the heart of our community. The heart of our community is what's going to make this city continue and be viable, and where we're going to gather, and we're going to laugh, and we're going to have fun, and we're going to come together. So as a committee, our board, there's 9 of us, we have put together a statement which I would like to read that comes from the Downtown Advisory Board. And please remember that most of the Downtown Advisory Board are business owners in our downtown. This is important to them. This is their future, along with ours. So let me just read it. Mayor and City Council members, as members of the recently established Downtown Advisory Board, we would like to offer our support for developing the new public safety buildings in the downtown area. As we have reviewed the 2 options before the council for the placement of the 2 buildings, we have determined that the best option for both downtown and the community would be to have the new fire station built downtown, rather than the pipe plant property. The Historic Energy and Association of the Fire Department, with its programs and activities, have made it a greater partner for downtown. Our hope is to not only maintain the energy and positive experiences downtown Pleasant Grove offers, but to continue to build it up, improve it, and make it truly the important heart and core of the community that it is and has the potential to become. We see the fire department as playing an important role in this objective. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy.
Thanks, Cindy.
Hi, my name is Becca Hilton. My address is 560 West, 800 North. If you would put up the other picture of the pipe plant property, my house is right there, and that row of houses smack dab in the middle. My roof is the middle roof right there. I have a 5 and 6 year old that often play in the front yard, as kids do. My neighbors have about 8 or 9 grandchildren that play right there. That is a very small street in the middle of a residential neighborhood. It would really risk the safety of all the kids that walk by going to school, my kids, and I just think the safety of our kids is really far more important than a historical building. Also, that is very close to the cemetery, and if you've ever been to a funeral, that's supposed to be a peaceful place. Imagine sitting at a funeral and they get up to dedicate the grave and a fire siren goes off and drowns out the prayer. So I just am very much opposed to this site. I think we should keep it downtown. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll
One
go
at a
first,
time.
and then she can go next. Andrea Snow, 1704 East Cherokee Drive, and I'm shaking. I'm also not one of many words, so I'll just keep it simple. My vote is for downtown for a couple of reasons. She just brought up the cemetery. That was the biggest thing that hasn't been brought up, I think, tonight. The cemetery's full. I know some of that land has been allotted for the cemetery, and unless I'm mistaken, people are not living forever. So we need more room for that. But also, people talk a lot about preserving history, the historical building down here. Preserving is completely different from restoring history. That building has not been preserved. It needs to be restored. My dad restores old vehicles, and oftentimes he finds parts. He's even found the vehicles in an old field. They're rusted, and he brings them back to life, and it takes an awful lot of work and an awful lot of money. To preserve something, you take care of it all the way along, and you make little repairs here and there. And I think that building is far past preservation.
Thank you.
Christy Belt, 266 East, 1640 North. First of all, I would like to thank the Public Safety Committee for all their hard work because they are awesome. And I would like to encourage
She
everyone.
was on the committee.
Others are awesome too. There are so many good things about each location and so many things that are less good about each location that I would like to encourage everyone to go to the polls and vote yes for the bond. Thank you.
Can you run for office? That was political. I like that.
And short. I know I can't speak again, but I made a mistake.
Oh, okay.
May
You
I
want to
correct
correct
the
yourself?
mistake?
Sure.
Yeah, Jeannie Young, 1045 West, 160 North. I had to close my eyes again. I understand that the epicenter of the earthquake, when it comes, is going to be in the middle of the lake. So it's not, I don't know how much advantage that gives us.
Thank you.
But I was wrong.
My name is Teresa Casper. I live on 503 North, 900 West. I've been here for over 20 years, and I've seen the outrageous growth of the city, kind of that direction. I know that we do need a new fire and public safety building. I totally am for that, so please vote for it. Anyway, but I am here very concerned about putting it at the pipe plant. There are lots and lots and lots of young elementary children that live in that neighborhood. It is pointed out by Chris Willis, it is a residential community. There is nothing non-residential in that neighborhood at all. So I'm concerned about the safety of our children. I'm concerned about the value of our property. We've already had a couple of big hits to the value of our property since we moved there. And our neighborhood struggles to have good residents move into that neighborhood already. I'm afraid that that would kill it. I am so 100% in favor of downtown. I am in favor of preserving history. And I believe that there's ways that we can preserve the history of that building. We could use the bricks from the outside to brick an interior wall of the inside, a nice large painting or portrait of the old building with history posted next to it would preserve the history. She made a good point. It hasn't been preserved. It's beyond preservation at this point. And my vote is totally for downtown, but we do need to preserve the history of the building in some way. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Council Chiefs. My name is Chris Williams. I live at 469 East, 1560 North. I came here originally trying to find out some information just as far as what the plans were more than anything. Originally, I thought the pipe plant was probably the better place to put it. I've been a firefighter. I've been in law enforcement, 12 years combined, 4 years in fire service and 8 years as a state trooper in Washington. I've seen fire departments. I hear the arguments that are going on about property values. I watched the city build 3 brand new fire departments, and the property values in those areas for residencies increased. So I don't know where the whole countenance is as far as it's going to go down. I think that's emotional politicking or placing. Insurance goes down. There's several values to it. Some of the comments that have been made, and again, I'm more supporting now thinking about the city downtown rather than what I originally came here thinking about the pipe plant. But it's not for some of the reasons. I think it's better in the city. I think it draws more the populace, some of the things that fire departments bring, law enforcement agencies and police departments bring for the community as far as a gathering location. But I want to make sure that everybody understands that some of the arguments as far as the roads go, nobody runs out in the street when the fire department or police department comes down the street and says, oh no, I have kids out here playing. Kids are going to gather anyway. I got thousands of hours in large fire engines, police cars. Do accidents happen? Absolutely. They're professionals. They're professionals. They do it as a living. Engineers are engineers because their main focus is getting there. The firefighters are putting their gear on while the engineer's driving. So I believe that the city downtown, if possible, is the best place for that fire station. But if the choice is out at the pipe plant, I think some of the issues that have been addressed in here are going to be are misled. Thank you.
My name's Steve Panton. I live at 846 North, 500 West. My home is just north of the picture you see here of the pipe plant. Right. It's just up a little to the east and north, so up in that area. I'm going to echo some of the same concerns I have for other of my neighbors who live in this area. Safety of my children being the primary. My children do walk on 800 to and from school, both the junior high and the elementary school. Property value is also a concern of mine, and the neighborhoods there. Access and safety of the citizens of this city is a concern of mine. I would challenge the fire department to go out off of 600 West and to try and make a right-hand turn there going towards State Street. I pull a 27-foot travel trailer with my Chevy pickup, and it's almost impossible with that, and I know that their vehicle's a lot larger than that. And that's a legitimate concern because, as I was mentioned earlier, there's a lot of housing, multi-dwelling housing just behind Macy's that would need urgent access. And if their vehicle cannot make a turn there to a direct route either to the freeway or to State Street or other main arteries throughout the city, you're delaying urgent care that is needed for people when they call upon emergency services. I feel that that reason alone should negate the pipe plant from being an option, period, and that my vote is for downtown. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jacob Such, 291 South, 300 East.
Probably have to pull it closer. Sorry, Jacob.
Just pick it up. Just pick it up. Oh, okay.
The downtown site has never been a great site. It just isn't. When it was proposed in 2014, the staff described it as short-sighted. The mayor described it as a short-sighted plan. And it still is. If these maps aren't that easy for everyone to just look at and understand, but if you compare the square footage of the pipe plant location and this location, you're cutting the square footage by about half. And you can't cut that much space and not have a negative effect on the outcome. Some of the things that cuts is the building that we were told the firemen are dangerously close to First East previously. They'll now have a 0 offset when the road is widened. The building will be right on the road. The downtown site doesn't allow for parking for the firemen. As a result, they'll be parking in just on the side of the road next to the park. If you were to measure out, to give everyone in here an idea, if you were to measure out the square footage of the pipe plant proposal, that would take you past the seminary building and past the front of this building. That's how much space we claim we need at the pipe plant, and yet we're compressing it down here. And I think it will compromise the future functionality of that building. UDOT has told the council that First East is going to fail. It backs up now, and it's only going to get worse, not better. I don't think the pipe plant is the best location, but as far as planning for the future, I believe it's a significant improvement over what we would have downtown. And then I also wanted to comment on the rec center. For years, we have claimed that it is important to get people downtown. The rec center is the only facility downtown that draws hundreds, if not thousands, of people to use that facility. It is a profitable facility. It's not a lot of money, but when I read some of the news reports about how tight Pleasant Grove's budget is, I would request that if you're going to take it down, that you tell the public where you're going to cut that money from, because it's got to come from somewhere.
Thank you, Jacob.
Hi, Cindy Carson, 732 West, 900 North, Pleasant Grove.
Your first name again?
Cindy.
Cindy?
Yeah. I just want to start with 2 bits of thanks. One, thanks for the feed. I was actually had stuff earlier in the evening, so I was watching at home, and then I ran over here. And also to thank the committee that's worked so hard so you don't have to hash out, because obviously there's differing opinions. But I live in this neighborhood. I'm not on the map, but I do drive that road every day. I turn at that corner to access my neighborhood. And I think if you drive that road every day, not only will you see the huge amount of children that are out there morning and afternoon, multiple schools crossing across that walk right there, but I actually carpool. My kids are at a school a little bit further away. And some of the kids I carpool live on 600 West, about a block north from this. And I can't move my vehicle over. Like, I need to make a U-turn on the road. I can't even get my minivan off the edge of the road enough to not impede traffic. I have to pull into somebody else's driveway and then turn around. So I realize a lot of times we think, okay, the fire truck's always going to be headed this way. maybe to down 600 towards Macy's area. But a lot of the residents do live north, so they have to be able to head up the road, and that is all residential. The city would have to buy up homes. I mean, there's nowhere to get more easement to widen that road that I can see going in that direction. Even though you could probably widen just the pipe plant area, it's not going to do the trick. And the road 800 North that runs across the top, like she said, people, if they park on the street, you can't even hardly get a regular vehicle through there. You have to kind of go over onto the dirt. So someone mentioned earlier that the road was maybe the same size as over here, and I would say that it's probably not quite that big. And even if they're comparable, the amount of traffic up and down 600 West, especially in busy times of the day, it's already backed up there too. So, I mean, you think about people who are turning off of State Street in that corner, there's like a quick turn, left turn, and everybody who lives in the entire north, I mean, that's a major corridor. A lot of people, when they're coming home from work, are headed up that road, and when they're leaving to work, it's very congested. And that's all I wanted to share. So I know there's pros and cons of each. I love to see historical things preserved. I think there have been some good ideas presented on how to make that happen. In an ideal world, we would be able to just pick up the building and move it, or pick up the pipe plant property and move it, but it's a tough decision to make, but I feel like it should be put downtown.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're going to have to hold it right in front of your mouth.
My name is Sander Thompson, and I live at 286 West, 1570 North, and I go to school with Strider over there at Pleasant Grove Junior High. And I just want to point out that the old rec center is called the old rec center for a reason. We have a new rec center for a purpose because...
Pretty blunt.
Oh, I love it. I believe in getting straight to the point. From the outside, the old rec center, it looks dilapidated and abandoned, and historical value just doesn't seem a good reason to preserve it. We should build the buildings in the downtown area so that we don't have fire engines and such in residential areas. And I think the pipe plant should be turned into a new sports field, because right now we only have one soccer field and like one baseball diamond and no football fields or anything like that. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that could have been the best one of the night so far. Thank
Still
you.
want to go?
I'm Jenny Pusey. I live at 505 North, 100 West. My property actually backs up to the east side of the cemetery. Anyway, I'd like to point out that I hear a lot about the history and everything, but we're making history. This is our opportunity to leave a legacy for those that come after us. I live in the house that my mother grew up in. When my grandparents passed away, I had the opportunity to buy the house, and I have lived there for 36 years. I have no intentions of leaving. But as I see it, we have the opportunity to build a strong city center in the downtown area. And then to take that pipe plant area to add more cemeteries so that, well, our legacy can come and visit us when we're dead, right? I mean, not to mention the fact that the drainage and the opportunity to have some green spaces, some parks, some fields that our children and our grandchildren can play on. I'm really seriously looking at, and my oldest just got married, I'm looking at grandchildren. And the thought of being able to take them to a good, viable place and have them to be able to continue to enjoy this city and to have the services that we need in the city, from the fire department to be able to continue to do their job and to be able to benefit the community is very important. So I am asking that you keep it downtown and that we develop the rest of it so that it can continue to benefit us in the future.
Thank you.
Nils Fugel, 1408 West, 800 North. I live in the coveted mud hole area. Everyone would love to live there. I live a few blocks to the west of the pipe plant. I'm going to start with the pipe plant and end downtown. I'm a real estate professional. So the idea that's been presented that values would go down, I don't believe that's true. If the fire station were to locate here. Also, I'd rather have a fire station closer to my home when it's on fire. Also, I've lived in Pleasant Grove most of my life, but I've lived in other communities, one of which is Sugar House, a suburb of Salt Lake City on that east side, and had a fire department station right there, just a couple blocks from my home there. And I really don't remember hearing the sirens. And I like the idea that the fire station was so close to home. So if it looks like this location works better, the pipe plant location works better in terms of location and accessibility, then I hear my neighbors around me, and what they're saying. That's the other thing I wanted to mention, that I know of no accidents with children and fire trucks when I lived in Salt Lake City, and I haven't heard of one here in Pleasant Grove either. Of course, anyway, so I'll leave it at that. The downtown location, for historical reasons, I went to Pleasant Grove Junior High. It was the old high school that my dad attended. And that older structure was torn down, but the present rec center was actually the gym that I had in junior high. I remember my first dance there, and that wasn't a pleasant experience, sweaty hands, and the girls were on one side of the center and the boys on the other, and the teachers had to coax us to go ask, someone to dance. Anyway. So I have fond memories of experiences there at the junior high, and the shop building is that I had metal and wood shop is the fire station now. But from a real estate standpoint and architectural significance of that building, I just don't see the value of the building architecturally. So I'm not opposed to having that building raised, although I have pleasant memories there. So I like some of the ideas that were presented, have pictures of the old buildings, etc., and remember them. But I think it's chasing good money after bad to renovate that the old rec building. For the ease of access, so this is the final point, I would rather see, even though it's further from my home, I'd rather see the fire department downtown, that fire station on this site. I think in terms of arterial access, ease of getting to various points in the city, I think it's a good location. Thank you.
Thank you. He left.
Thought he was going to make a right turn.
They left too.
So I'm so excited by the
Molly.
Molly Andrew, 1125 Sage Drive. I'm so excited by the feeling in the room. It's a good feeling tonight, and I love it. I was on the committee that got to do this for the last 14 months, and it's been a neat experience. It's been a stressful experience, and it's taken a lot of time away from our families to do that. But we're grateful to, I think, have been able to do it. As a committee, I just want to stress that I remember having a vote once, and we wanted to preserve as much green space as we wanted in the park. And I think the architect did a really good job, and they will, as they plan that when the time comes, when the bond is passed. One thing about the old rec center, I know there's a lot of memories there. I know there's a lot of history. And I think that so many people have said so many good things of ways to honor the history. And I am so excited. I hope that that gets incorporated if that's what
happens when it comes down. I struggle keeping the rec center. It makes $8,500 a year, and it doesn't have any maintenance in the budget. And so the battle cry for the election was money for roads, money for roads. And I really, really hate to see money, if it's not in the budget already, going towards the rec center to try and recoup that. Building on 100 East was an issue. We talked about that as a committee, and the architect actually compensated for that, and you'll see that in the plans. And when we talked to Marty, Beaumont, our city engineer, about widening the road, I guess that is a possibility in the future, but they were going to take care of the easement there, so that wouldn't be an issue. And then I just love what she just said about making history now and leaving our legacy. And I am for the downtown site. I really, really like the function that the police station and the fire department have together. And I like the fact that the fire department is the center of our community. And if you get to know the guys, they love to be around the people. And I hate to put them out away from the people. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Lon Lewis. I live at 696 South Mohican Lane. I just want to just raise a couple of points. I believe that our fire official and the team that works for the fire department has reviewed this site, and did they not more or less come to an agreement that it would be workable and these issues that have been raised, it could be mitigated?
Which issues? And when you're pointing, are you talking about the pipe plant?
Yes. The roadways, the widths, the ingress, egress, Center Street approaches, railroads, all that kind of stuff.
The committee reviewed it, and the committee understood that a lot of improvements would have to be made to the infrastructure in the area to accommodate a facility. That's over and above the building.
Did not the chief review all this kind of stuff before?
Was part of those meetings. I don't remember a specific endorsement or non-endorsement. He did say that they would be able to work with either one. And then the other thing I do remember, one of his staff reported for him that the research had been done on travel times. And as it exists now, the travel times were about equal from either site to any point in the city.
Sure. So I believe that, we may not have a specific endorsement by the fire department, but I believe they've reviewed this, and had there been any major concerns, I think that it would have been raised by now of their inability to perform their job for the city. I'm in favor of the pipe plant. I think another thing that hasn't been addressed too extensively this evening, and I'll probably be shot by saying this, but I believe that cost is an issue, and the pipe plant proposal is a less expensive proposal, if I understand correctly. With budgets and
I think this is where, as a committee, we decided to keep it to the cost of sticks and bricks, because there are many things like the cost of the land that have to be considered at both sites, improvements to the land surrounding area that have to be considered at both sites, and those were not, fully researched and outlined numerically. So it's very difficult to say. These are very close to each other in terms of cost. Depending on how you want it to look, you can make either one look less expensive to the other, but not tremendously.
I understand that, Mayor, and I appreciate that clarification, but I know that it was a huge obstacle and an enormous amount of conversation regarding costs and budgets and, values and different building materials, and I came away with the opinion that it would probably be less expensive to locate at the pipe plant.
Thank you. To some degree, hang on a sec, Lon, Just thank you for bringing up the points that you did. I think they're very valid. And no, some of those were not brought up this evening the way that you presented them. We appreciate that. And that's something that the citizens should contemplate and think about. There are other costs, both tangible and intangible, that need to be considered. And that's kind of what we've been hearing tonight. Tangible and intangible as far as dollars go.
Sure.
To either site.
Yeah.
The good news on cost is the proposal in front of us today is 50% less than the proposal that was in front of us 3 years ago. And that is quite an accomplishment by the committee. So thank you.
Yeah.
Kira Harris, 60 Alpine Drive. Didn't forget my address. I have a lot of mixed feelings. I love being really close to the fire station. I also really, really love the old rec center. Reality is, we don't have the money to fix up the old rec center unless somebody comes forward and pays for it to happen. But I mean, just looking at all of the issues overall, I don't envy the situation that you're in. For lack of a better phrase, you're kind of in a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. If you put it at the pipe plant, there's a lot of things that are going to have to happen to mitigate a lot of those safety concerns, and the residents are going to have some serious adjustments to make. If you put it downtown, you're going to have to do a lot of work to fit everything in without encroaching on the green space, and there's going to be a lot of work that will have to be done to try and find some way to allow for future growth, because it's very, very limited if we put it down here. Whatever option you go with, and I'm not even sure if I, can even say one way or the other which way I lean. It kind of changes from moment to moment and day to day, because the issues really are that difficult to pull apart. But I will support your decision, and I hope that you would continue to include the Public Safety Building Committee. As we move forward, I would love to continue to be involved in that process, and I would urge everyone here to go to the polls and vote yes.
Thank you, Kara. Kara was also a member of the committee. Would anyone else like to speak? Except for Sandy.
Only a little bit. Sandy Carter, 2708 North, 450 West. I think what I wanted to say is that I felt like I heard things tonight that I hadn't thought about, so I'm really glad that I came. I'm not sure about the property values in the neighborhood, adjacent to the pipe plant property. Perhaps they would remain the same. I think that people's concerns are valid, though, when they're concerned about the traffic, safety, the congestion, their children. I would be worried, too. I mean, I have a lot of grandkids, and they're like little deer. They like to run everywhere and use the opposite direction than you're anticipating. I personally, my opinion is downtown. I like the idea of a city center. I like the idea of having these buildings close to each other and to having everything right here in the heart of PG. And I also like the ideas, some of the ideas I heard too about when the fire department, when their vehicles exit, that there is some sort of system that would enact a red light. There's a light there that stops traffic. So they have the ability to exit when they need to, and there's no concern or cause to worry about oncoming traffic. I've seen that done in other cities, and I think it's great. And I really like the idea of, I love history. My husband and I, we collect antiques from the Revolutionary War, the Civil War. I've been to Europe. I can't even describe the feeling it is to see, the Colosseum in Rome. I've seen a church built in the 5th century. It's phenomenal. But I think that what we need to do is to build on a foundation of the history we already have. The rec center is not feasibly, we're not able to preserve it or restore it. It's just not cost effective. But I love the idea of taking bits and pieces and using those things to build a special wall, or more than one wall, I don't know. You could get a committee of people together with their own labor, with their own hands, their own backs, bricks, wood, whatever, and we do something special with it. I think that's a fantastic idea. So I like all the different things I heard. I like the fact that people, I think, felt safe tonight to discuss their feelings, their opinions. And, you know, I look forward to more of what the committee has to say. I am concerned, too, about the green space. And from what I've heard, it sounds like we'll maintain what we already have. I hope that's the case. I would love to see, in addition to the new public safety building, that we really amp up our park space. We do put in a splash pad, and we put new equipment in. We put more beautiful landscaping in to make it look like it should. Trying to think of what else. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes. I think that's pretty much it. That's my vote is for downtown. And I really appreciate people who live around the pipe plant. I'm so glad they came tonight. And I'm so glad they discussed their concerns, because I actually hadn't thought of all those things, and I think they really were valid and worth hearing. And thank you to the committee for the 14 months of work they put in. I'm sure they feel like they've been out on a different planet for a while. And thank you. And thank the police chief and the fire chief and all of their employees for what they do every day. Thanks.
Thank you, Sandy. Would anyone else like to speak this evening? Okay, Warren.
Bypass this thing. Orrin Anderson, 105 South, 300 East. Just lived 2 blocks of here. We moved in 1991. A lot of people have talked about how a shift elsewhere might affect their property values. And I'm not a real estate professional, but my opinion still counts in my mind. And that is that I don't want to see it go any further. The night of the Winter Olympics opening ceremony 15 years ago, one of my 2-year-old daughters drowned, and I performed CPR on her, but about as fast as that happened, the first responders rushed through my door and were there to finish the job and help her. And that was a miracle in our lives. And I'm grateful for the fire department and emergency personnel where they are. I look at this map, and for the life of me, I cannot figure out how anybody living east of here would feel comfortable with that second option. There's nothing but roadblocks, at least a couple of corners more for any first responder to get to their home trying to go east of that location. But those couple of seconds in our case made the difference between having a twin that grew up without her twin sister. And I can't overstate how important it was to us when we moved in here. We thought this is great because we're close to the fire station, we're close to the schools. That's why we purchased where we did. And it would be a major change for us, even though it's only 6 or 8 blocks from here. It's 5 times the distance. Maybe enough to have made a big difference in our lives. So that's it.
Thank you, Orrin.
John Van Orman, 1848 North 275 East. And I don't know how anybody can follow that lawn, other than to say that everyone in this room has deep feelings for Pleasant Grove. I think we have deep appreciation for our fire and police and all of our city officials. And I don't envy our city council, because whatever they decide, people are going to be mad at them. There are trade-offs, and many of the concerns that have been expressed tonight may prove less worrisome in the end. But I would like to urge the city council, as you consider where to put the new fire station, that you give us a vision of what you think the future of Pleasant Grove needs to be. If we lose the recreation center downtown, it's not a building we're losing a gathering point, and we're losing some of the personality that many have wanted, which is a family community and a center place that will attract people to come. And much of what attracts them downtown now will be lost with the building. So yeah, a building has some value, but certainly what it serves has greater value. I'm concerned that the architect who studied this also said repeatedly that there is barely enough space downtown to fit the fire station. And if it's put there, we create a serious parking problem. We limit the ability to expand the fire station or other services. And we possibly eliminate many of the festive activities, apart from the things that go on at the old rec building, our strawberry days, and many of the other things that bring people downtown would be jeopardized. So I urge the city council to look at what they see the future for Pleasant Grove. Out at the pipe plant, it could foretell development that's badly needed. It could foretell parks and ball fields alongside a fire station. It's a difficult decision, and I don't know how you reach it. But I think we'll all benefit if beforehand you say, here's what we would like Pleasant Grove to be in the future, and therefore our decision will move us in that direction. It allows us to get behind you, to understand that you really do feel for those who would lose in whatever the decision is, as well as projecting us towards something that will be better for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Jan. Donald Anderson, 864 North, 450 West. I live in the neighborhood across the street from where this is proposed to be. My concerns are infrastructure. You kind of answered that question by saying that the bond will only pay for the building. Infrastructure, those of us that have lived along that road have always said it would be nice if it was widened and there was a sidewalk on the other side of the street on 8th North. 6th West doesn't have sidewalks all the way along it either. There's a church across the street from where that fire station would be. I don't know if you've considered using the southeast corner instead of this northwest one of the property, the 40 acres. I don't know whether that's been considered or not. It put it closer to 400 North, and sorry, Ken, you'd probably be having to run across the street from your house. But that might be something that would be considered. 400 North has more access points. And we hear the fire stations from our neighborhood all the time anyway. The fires, they go out and they go up and down Canyon Road, and we can hear them. So I'm sure we'd get used to that. But infrastructure, I think, is something that we really need to consider as we make this decision. Thank you.
My name is Tracy Scott. I live at 269 East and 200 North in Pleasant Grove. So I live close here, and as has been brought up many times tonight, Pleasant Grove is a very pleasant place to live. And the fire trucks and the ambulances don't go out that often, so you really don't hear a lot of sirens wherever it ends up being. The committee spent 14 months, came down to 2 choices, and it's left up to the council to decide what they do. Tonight, we've heard from mostly people that live by the pipe plant and don't want the fire station by the pipe plant. I think it's very important for the council to make a decision about where they plan to put this before the election, so that when people are voting, they know exactly all of what they're voting for. Not just a bond that we're going to put it somewhere, but a bond and it's going to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Tracy.
Lori Williams, 175 South, 1300 East, Pleasant Grove. I just want to make sure and remind all the people that live by the pipe plant that that residential feeling will probably be lost anyways, because the Public Works is already has a building that they're using out there, and out of the 40 acres, we're looking at 2 acres being used for the fire department, and they will be using 10 acres of it. And so, anyways, I just want to make sure that they all know that that's going to be down there. That's all.
Thank you, Lori. Anyone else? Okay, we're going to close the public hearing. Bring it back up here. Council, did you have anything you wanted to say at this time? Okay. Let me just, as mayor, let me just kind of recap a little bit. About 50 of you took the time to come out tonight, and I don't know how many more people are listening to us broadcast live tonight. I'm glad we've had almost a year to practice this broadcasting thing, so hopefully it worked well. The peace that I feel in this room tonight cannot be described any other way but peace. And I am grateful that the tone and the temperament of this meeting is far different than any other meeting on this subject I have attended in the last 3 years. And I think that that is because of you. And I thank you for bringing your thoughts and your feelings with you and representing yourselves in a calm way. The message is clear. We've heard from people that would like it in one location or another, or not like it in one location or another, and for various reasons. There's a lot of work to do now that the council needs to consider each of what has been said tonight, and also the emails and other conversations that are being received. There will also be a link on the website for people to leave comments. We'll have those comments open for 2 weeks. And the date again, Scott? On October 18th, we'll have an agenda item for the council to publicly have a discussion about what they've learned this evening. And then on November 1st, we'll have another agenda item for the council if they choose to decide and announce the location that they have selected for this this endeavor. And all of this is really up to the citizens to vote for the bond or vote against the bond. So I'm really encouraged this evening for your participation. Thank you for taking the time to come and express yourselves. And we'll now take a 5-minute break.
Hello.
So hard. I mean, I was like, oh my gosh.
Thank you for coming. To make half the population mad.
These kids can keep staying. That was really good. Hey. Like Shredder. Striker. Strider. Thank you. We know we're all celebrating and happy, but we need the council back. Noted. So is Eric. Eric is here. Sid is here. Who's missing? Oh, Ben is here. Okay. All right. From an agenda standpoint, items 9B, C, 10A were all continued until the 18th.
That's correct.
Okay, so we will move on those. We are at item 12, which is review and discussion on the October 11th City Council work session. So that is next week, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Next Tuesday.
For some reason, I'm having difficulty with my my dates and times tonight.
Oh, your battery's probably getting ready to die.
My watch is off too. Okay. So this is going to be October 11th. Presentation from Al Switzer of Tabitha's Way. Discussion on the Pleasant Grove Chamber of Commerce with Assistant City Administrator David Larson.
Well, sorry, Mayor, just a quick explanation. That's a follow-up to working with American Fork and Linden on the future of creating a position to help manage the chambers of commerce. So we have some updates as we've talked with others, and we'll present that to you next week.
Will someone from Linden be present? Sure. Thank you. And then street lights, Marty has that one.
We've requested some information from Rocky Mountain Power with regards to the value of our street lighting system in Pleasant Grove and what the cost would be if we decided to own that system. And we would like to talk with the council a little bit more in detail about what the results of that study was and the potential costs of if we decided to take that system over for ourselves and manage and maintain that. And so that's the item that we'd like to discuss.
Okay. And then the other items were moved to the 18th, so we don't have those on this agenda. Is there anything else for next week?
We will be, there is an item on the 18th to enter into an interlocal agreement with Utah County on getting First East repaved and taken care of, which has been badly in need.
So we're finally at that point?
We are. We're about a 6 months worth of work on the agreement with the county. We feel good about where we're at. We want to
months and 10 years.
Well, okay. Yes, thank you. We will go over the agreement with the council, and then we'll have it set up to take action on the 18th. So if the council has questions or concerns, we'll go over those next week.
Okay. Anything else for that evening?
Yeah, I mean, there's numerous public hearings and stuff, and it's all related to planning, and we'll talk about that next week.
Anything for the 11th?
No, that's it for the 11th.
Okay. Okay, we're down to neighborhood and staff business.
So, Scott, I'm sorry, was that planning for the general plan?
No, these are planning items that were on the agenda today that have been moved. So some preliminary plats, some code changes that we've been talking about.
Okay, you just said but those are related to the public hearing, not with the general plan. We moved that to after the election. Is that correct? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just the ones that were continued from tonight.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
so far. Okay, neighborhood and staff business. Libby? No? Okay, I gotta look around. David?
Somebody else might want to talk about this, but the Economic Development Summit on Friday I thought was a major success. It was wonderful to see the landowners and builders and architects and engineers and real estate agents and brokers and everybody in the same room talking about Pleasant Grove and what's happening here, and wonderful speakers. The governor was there, the mayor of course spoke, and wonderful attendance, just a wonderful time, and just thought it was a great thing.
Thank you for organizing that.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
We pretty much nailed it, so.
Going up will be hard.
Just kind of finishing up some of the construction projects that have went on over the summer. I felt that they went very well. We're finishing up Garden Drive. Well, the water line will be finished up here in the next week. They'll start pulverizing the road starting next Monday, and then paving should come the following week. So in the next couple of weeks, we should see that project winding down as well. We've got the 4,000 North Sewer project underway, and they anticipate paving in the next 2 weeks on that project. So they're going to be really moving fast to get that project done. We got a lot of projects that are trying to get finished up before paving window ends, and so those are good projects. But that's all I had.
Thank you, Marty. Ken?
So, yeah, we've recently talked about the general plan update, and I'd like to just encourage the council to think about which two of the councils should be a part of the advisory board that I recommended that we establish, and we also appoint 2 planning commissioners and 2 neighborhood chairs. I'd like to, if we can, have that on the agenda for appointment on sometime in November. At that same meeting, I would like to review the proposed survey questions that we will prepare for survey in January.
Okay. I might have sent an email out requesting volunteers. I don't remember if I did. It's been a while. So did you reply?
I did not reply, but I would love to.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. So it'll be Diana and Lynn, unless someone else wants to.
I've indicated a willingness to. I did send you an email, but I'm happy to let somebody else serve.
Any preferences here, guys? Okay, let's let them go ahead and do this one, and then we'll catch you on another one. I'm sure we have something brewing that we can get you on. Thank you. Okay, anything else, Ken? Okay. Kira? No. Dion? Sherry?
We're doing a couple small construction projects starting later this week or maybe next week. We'll see what happens in the library, so just if anybody asks. We're moving a lot of things around. Things are going to look kind of hodgepodge, strange for a little while as we prepare for the elevator and things like that. So it's going to look crowded and ugly for a few months probably, but it'll all be worth it in the end. And PG Players production is going now, so go see the play.
Thank you. Dave?
I was pleased with the participation tonight. I was really pleased that so many people took the opportunity to come and really participate in this. I really enjoyed their comments.
Yeah, same.
That's all I have to say about that.
50, let's see, what did we have last? 100 and something on the 500 person meeting? But tonight we had 50 and maybe 100 and... So participation-wise, I mean, it's 4 to 1.
46.
Yeah.
It's really nice to see the interest.
Yeah, very much so. I take it Mike's back there?
Yeah, we were given donated some furniture, couches and things. So, you know, if you guys want to come sit around in the lobby of the PD, we have some new chairs and couches in there that from all places were donated from a casino. And they would not give us the slot machines to go with them. But anyway.
Chief?
Yes.
What happened to the gonorrhea couch?
Oh.
No,
strike that
no, it's
from
been
the
tested. Where is the couch?
It's
because that was like
its
an
location,
artifact at the police station.
We're saving it actually for a museum.
Thank you very much.
I'm just
on that
teasing.
note.
Okay, a funny story on the couch.
I saw it drive away.
There was a person in the lobby that I know I offended the person, but I didn't mean to, because they commented on those couches about how cool they were, that we had just made a decision to have some retro couches in our lobby. And you know, and I said something to the fact that I didn't think they were cool, and she, you know, got this weird look on her face, and I said, well, you need to understand, these were actually in style when we bought them. They've just went through all the years and now they're retro. So the coolness doesn't work.
Anything else?
No, that was it.
Thank you. Denise?
Just our auditors will be on site next week, so my life's going to get exciting, but it'll be
Do
good.
we need to
so.
leave you alone for a week?
No.
Okay. Tina?
Just came back from a really good conference. International Municipal Lawyers Association had some great workshops, a couple of which are very apropos for some things we're dealing with right now, including body cam policies. Also, they have been working for 4 or 5 years on a special project for construction contracts for large projects, i.e. our public safety building facilities, and changes in templates that are more favorable to municipalities than the AIA contracts that are normally distributed. So those are 2 things, and also sign ordinance law. So be looking for some modifications to our sign ordinance coming up.
Great. Thank you, Tina. Scott?
Just a reminder, we have our emergency management exercise tomorrow night from 7 p.m. to 9. We'll be at the rec center in the multipurpose room. Public's invited to attend and participate in the exercise. We can have up to 48 people. I think we have about 35 that have RSVP'd, so if people are interested, you can show up and join in.
Thank you. Anything else?
That's it.
Okay. Kathy? Nothing? Diana? Lynn?
RSVP for that. That's it.
Sid? Eric?
David, Scott, maybe you can send a thank you to EDC Utah for their work and the grant. That was a big help.
Absolutely.
For that. It wouldn't happen without.
Yeah.
Without that, so.
That's
And
a good idea,
doTERRA
Eric.
for using their facility.
Yes.
Yeah.
doTERRA.
And providing lunch. Yeah.
A very good lunch.
We'll do that. We paid for the lunch, but
That's okay. Thank him anyway.
I think I would.
We'll do.
Ben?
I'm good.
Okay. I don't have anything else. Let's look at the calendar. Is there anything of note that's sticking out?
I RSVP for the emergency. Okay.
The whole council, right, Scott? You've got.
Closed on the 10th for Columbus Day. City offices. And early voting from the 25th to the 28th. November 4th. Oh, just because it cuts off on Friday. Okay. Is the ballot measure on there as well, the Prop 1 for the early voting? Oh, wow. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. All right. If there's no other business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Yeah, I'll make the motion. We adjourn.
I'll second.
Motion by Ben, second by Lynn. All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. Thank you.